Compendium teams are underrated. I'm Nick from Venture Minis, and today I'm going to tell you about why you shouldn't dismiss Compendium teams so quickly, especially the Deathwatch. All over Reddit, I see folks saying things like this. Compendium Space Marines are all over the place, but none of those places is even close to the playground the other teams are playing on. This opinion isn't new, and it's one that I've stated actually before, but I've gone back on it. While it can't be disputed that Compendium teams do have a lower power level overall than Bespoke box teams, that doesn't mean that they should not be used. In fact, they're perfectly capable of winning games. This is because there's one central truth about Kill Team that folks overlook. Kill Team is more about player skill than the team they play. This is especially the case when you compare it to Warhammer 40k, which is very list heavy. Player skill is huge in Warhammer 40k as well, but you might have 14 choices you're making per turn. Whereas in 40k, you might only have, say, 6 squads that you're moving around the battlefield. And these models have action points which they use in different ways rather than just doing a move and a shoot phase. Let's use an example. So if I were playing the Compendium Tyrannid Genestealer team for 100 games, and then I switch over to playing Harlequins, I would not immediately become a better player despite what the win stats say. In fact, I'd probably lose a whole lot more if I made that sudden switch because of just how important player piloting skill is. It's not just enough to say Compendium teams are worse, because while it's true in most cases, it doesn't mean that you will be worse. Given the choice between Compendium Space Marines and the Intercession team, I'd probably recommend the latter, but the former can probably win a lot more games than you think. The deciding factor is, as I've said before, player skill. At your average tournament, you won't all be of the same skill level, and since that's the main balancing factor, the minutiae of team matchups isn't going to come into focus until you've had 2 well-matched players fighting each other. And so assuming all the other variables are correct, the Compendium teams are probably going to lose, but maybe not. Let's look at the Intercession team fighting Compendium Deathwatch. So let's look at the stats, right? So the Deathwatch, they get a sergeant, a fighter, 2 warriors, a gunner, and a heavy gunner. They can fight twice and shoot twice with a ploy, sort of like the Intercessors get for free. And they also have a ploy sort of like In-Death Atonement for the Vet Guard, where they get to die, but they won't be removed from the field and they can still shoot until the end of the next activation. They get access to Suspensor systems, which is great, which lowers the weakness of heavy weapons, and they get some good grenades and a Purity Seal. That being said, the big downside is that they have 3 less runes, and they don't get durable or rapid. So this seems worse so far, right? But let's look at the weapons they get. Going up against Intercession, you're going to get a Inferno Pistol and a Thunder Hammer on the Sergeant, and the Inferno Pistol, which is basically a Melt-A-Gun, is going to be doing 3 damage with Mortal Wounds 3, and it's going to guarantee do that 3 damage because Durable only minimizes damage down to 3 on the crit. So your Durable is going to be ignored. You also have a Frag Cannon, which is basically a missile launcher without heavy, which is great. You're going to have a Melt-A-Gunner, which again ignores Durable for the same reason. You're going to have another Inferno Pistol if you want, with another great melee weapon of your choice. And then you're going to get 2 warriors that have P1 Xenopurge shotguns with 3-5 damage on a 2-up. And they also get a power weapon with that. So that's 3 Melt-A-Guns. Some of them really close range, but on Into the Dark, that's not going to matter that much. That's going to ignore Durable because of how Melt-A-Guns work. And then 2 of them are going to be holding really good melee weapons in addition to the Melt-A-Guns. And you're also going to get a Gunner, which has a better grenade launcher than the Intercessor Gunner has. And you're going to get a melee operative, which can last in a fight against an Intercessor. And 2 warriors who are going to do pretty decent at shooting and fighting. Yes, they're going to have 3 less wounds than Intercessors, which is pretty rough because that's going to make them take 1 less chainsword hit to kill. But that doesn't make them useless. I could not, with certainty, say that this matchup goes to the Intercessor player without question. I mean, like 3 AP2 weapons is exactly the kind of thing that eats Intercessors for breakfast. For everyone who says Khazarkin's 4-up with the elite points is worse than if they were 3+, well, go check these guys out. They're getting all these AP weapons with 3+ to hit. Personally, I really like elite points, and you can check out the Khazarkin guide about that, but anyways. The important thing here is, obviously, I'm sort of cherry-picking one of the best Compendium teams, but even if we look at Space Marine Scouts, which are basically 10 Kazarkin, they're hitting on 3s rather than hitting on 4s with elite points, which depends on if you like that or not. You can take 4 snipers, hitting on 2s with Mortal Wounds 1. One of them is the Sergeant if you want, which will get it balanced. It's not that great. It's Mortal Wounds 1 on the sniper, so it's a 3-4 hitting on 2s silent weapon, but that's pretty interesting. It's got 2 heavy gunners, so you can take 2 missile launchers, and you get 4 warriors. So yeah, you get those 2 missile launchers. They can have dispenser systems, so you can not really have to worry about heavy that much. And this gives you great blast potential against hordes, and it gives you a big AP1 shooting weapon. And you'll get a bunch of guys with 4-4 2-up shotguns that can go run on objectives. I don't really know if there's other teams that do this similar sort of thing, having a bunch of silent weapons that are just sitting back there plinking off damage. Sure, you could probably be taking Kroot to do this kind of thing, but overall, it's not awful. The low cognitive load of Compendium teams means that you as a new player could really focus a lot on just mastering the core tactics of the game and not worrying too much about, oh, does this tactical ploy, should it be used in the situation, etc. And ultimately, it's the mastering of the core mechanics which is really going to bring you victory most of the time. Being confident about how to use cover, how to use obscuring, how to position in order to do one-way shooting, how to score your tac ops and primary objectives. These things are the things that are probably going to win you most of your games, and then team mastery is going to get you there the rest of the way. At a tournament, I'd take my Bespoke teams there every single time, but we can't say that these Compendium teams are not worth playing. They're a fun, pretty excellent way and balanced way to enter the game with the models that you already own. So I recommend taking that Compendium team. Try them out for a while, and if you see a Bespoke team that you like and you want to get, switch over to that. And if someone says that your Compendium team is awful, well, play a game against them and win, because I probably bet you will. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I have a Patreon now. So if you want to support this little hobby of mine with the price of a paint pot, go check it out. I do this thing in addition to my day job. This is not how I make any income. This is just a hobby of mine. So if you want to support that and give me more time to do this thing, support me. I'd appreciate it. Eventually I'll be calling out the subscribers at the end of the video. But until next time, ask all the questions you got in the comments. I love answering all the comments you have, and I'll see you next time.